I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on Newsfeed today. Iran shuts down the internet with the aim of shutting down protests, but will it work? This video of a student being forcibly removed from Oxford University is causing anger for some online. We go to Beirut to meet an artist who's been protesting against the government in her work. And a video of cats reacting to their owners using a cat filter. Is our animals doing stuff? And top of our newsfeed, Iran. An increase in fuel prices there has seen people on the streets of cities across the country. The Iranian economy has been damaged by crippling sanctions that were imposed by the Trump administration, as now as people protest, the government has turned off the internet. Here's Laila.
A rise in the price of fuel on Friday caused widespread demonstrations in Iran. In response, the government has pulled the plug on the internet. And it's made it hard for protesters to organize. Some analysts say it's the largest internet shutdown the government has imposed to date. An internet observer, NetBlock, says connectivity remains at just 5% of normal levels. But some videos of the protests are making it onto the web. This one shows a woman taking off her headscarf. They're compulsory in Iran, and removing it can result in years of jail time. Activists have been trending Twitter ban Khamenei to try to get the site to take down Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's page until internet access is restored.
A lot of you are wondering what is going on in Iran right now. There have been 4 days of nationwide protests across Iran.
But the Iranian economy is struggling. That's in part due to US policy. Washington abandoned a landmark nuclear deal and renewed crippling sanctions. The Trump administration has also called for a change of government.
The United States is monitoring the ongoing protests in Iran closely. We condemn strongly any acts of violence committed by this regime against the Iranian people and are deeply concerned by reports of several fatalities.
But Iran's supreme leader has backed the fuel price hike and called the protesters hooligans.
What I want to say is that no one should help these hooligans. No wise and deserving person interested in his own country, interested in his comfortable life, should help them. They are the hooligans and not the ordinary people.
The government says calm has been restored, but with internet access still severely restricted, it's difficult to know exactly what is happening inside Iran.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the other things that caught our eye on social media. Now, Kylie Jenner will sell a majority stake in the makeup brand she developed for $600 million. She sold 51% of shares to a company called Coty, which also owns the cosmetic lines for Burberry, Adidas, Calvin Klein, and many others. Kylie Jenner has used social media to become one of the best-known people in the world. She's millions of followers across platforms and has been responsible for setting trends and styles for millions who look to celebrity for inspiration. German state broadcaster Deutsche Welle is reporting that this woman, Princess Basma bint Saud, is missing. She's the youngest daughter of the Saudi king and is known for being a champion of humanitarian causes. She's believed to be under house arrest. Princess Basma was reportedly detained in March while trying to leave Saudi Arabia to go to Switzerland for medical treatment. Well, in America, meth, we're on it, is trending because amazingly South Dakota puts out these as part of an attempt to reduce the amount of drug use in the state. As you can imagine, it's been ridiculed by those who've seen it.
I'm on meth.
I'm on meth.
I'm on it too. So am I.
So am I.
I'm on meth.
Meth is not someone else's problem. It's everyone in South Dakota's problem. And we need everyone to get on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it too.
3 of the actors from the movie Justice League have been retweeting this: release the Snyder Cut. It's in reference to an edit of the film by the original director Zack Snyder, who was unable to finish the movie due to personal problems. Apparently, these actors think the Snyder Cut is better than the one that was released, which is not hard because that film was terrible. It has a 40% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And the Glastonbury Festival has released the names of 2 people who will be performing at the 2020 event: Paul McCartney and Diana Ross. They have a combined age of 154 and have been responsible for some of the best songs of the past 6 years. Tickets for Glasgow 2020 have sold out already. Well, next to the United Kingdom, where footage of the treatment of a postgraduate student at the University of Oxford has gone viral, leading to calls for the head of the student union there to resign.
Give me my car.
And to Brazil now, where a charity is working to change the lives of women who've suffered from domestic abuse.
Dos meus 18 anos até praticamente agora, eu não sorria. Todas as fotos que eu tenho é sempre com a boca fechada. Eu não sorria. Autoestima lá embaixo, vergonha.
Então, o que a gente faz com esse projeto, não só devolver um belo sorriso, mas dar a oportunidade para essas mulheres de sorrir por dentro, de ter vontade de sair daquela situação, de ter uma autoestima elevada.
And we keep on spinning around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Tuesday. Now, dozens of people have died in Bolivia as the fallout and fighting after former President Evo Morales left office continues. There are competing narratives as to how he came up to be out of office, and in Mexico, some say it was due to disputed elections and the Bolivian military suggesting he stepped down. Others say it was a coup. What is certain is that at least 23 people so far have been killed in the violence. Sweden say they've dropped their rape investigation into Julian Assange, the man who founded the WikiLeaks website. He's been accused of rape in Sweden, and it was in London in the Ecuadorian embassy for 7 years to avoid facing courts in Stockholm. He's now in London's Belmarsh prison, facing extradition to the United States for disseminating state secrets through his website's publication of leaked documents. 60 people in Sydney have been treated for inhaling smoke caused by bushfires. Air quality in the city is at hazardous levels and the fires are described as catastrophic. Now, Australia is not fully in summer yet, but the high temperatures and drought have made the fires this year worse than in previous years. They continue to burn out of control in 3 states, and the weather forecast shows no sign of significant rainfall. The director Roman Polanski, who admitted to raping a 13-year-old girl, could be suspended from a French filmmakers guild. The ARP say it will bring in new rules to suspend anyone who's facing legal charges. Polanski is facing new accusations from an actor called Valentine Monnier, who says he attacked her in 1975. Polanski is still wanted in the United States for a rape from 1977. He's been living in France ever since. He's 86, and his latest film, An Officer and a Spy, was the most popular film in France last weekend. The Arctic is releasing more carbon into the atmosphere as the environment enters a destructive feedback loop. As the global temperature increases due to carbon being released into the atmosphere, carbon held in the Arctic is released. As the Arctic melts, releasing more carbon, it warms the planet further. 1.7 billion tons of carbon are being released each year. It's predicted only 1.1 billion can be held by the plants there. The research came from the journal Nature Climate Change. And NASA scientists say they have discovered water vapor in the atmosphere above Europa, one of planet Jupiter's moons. It's a potentially significant moment and brings us one step closer to finding water. And then, who knows, life? Well, in Beirut, the government has resigned amid weeks of protests, and today demonstrations stopped a session of parliament. But the future of the country remains uncertain. Now, one feature of these calls for change have been the art popping up all over the capital. Imogen sent us this.
During the weeks of protests against the economic crisis and rampant corruption, the walls of downtown Beirut have become covered with political graffiti. Here in Ria del Sole, this graffiti artist makes reference to the WhatsApp tax that triggered off the protests. In this imaginary conversation, he has Prime Minister Saad Hariri, Foreign Minister Gibran Bassil, and the Speaker, Nabi Berri, dividing up the spoils of that tax. And this graffiti artist implies that the people of Lebanon have been silenced. Once the heart of Beirut, downtown is now too expensive for many regular Beirutis.
So the reason we picked this location, mostly because, well, a huge part of the revolution is that we're taking back public spaces, and this was originally, this is part of the Esqua wall, and we chose here next to Riyad al-Sulah and next to Sahat al-Shuhada, mostly because it represents our freedom as well, like our freedom of movement, our freedom of choice. So basically what I focused on was freedom, and I wrote here in Arabic, it says Ya Hurriya, which is, I guess it translates to "Oh freedom," but it's like basically it's like a call for freedom, and the reason I represented women here, and it's basically the same woman if you want. It's like the reason she has like 4 arms, each of them, is that her force is being amplified through like resistance, through freedom and all that, and she's wearing the Lebanese flag as a symbol basically for our unity here as women, or as whatever you want to identify as. And a lot of people ended up writing stuff. Some of them wrote their names, and someone wrote revolution up here, which is Thawra in Arabic. And I really loved this over here. Someone wrote, in Arabic, it's علموا أبناءكم أن الأنثى هي الرفيقة هي الوطن هي الحياة. Basically means teach your children that women are our friends, they are the country, and they are like basically the essence of life.
And across Beirut, you can see Thawra, or revolution, and Kulun Yani Kulun. All of them means all of them. That's the people's demand that every member of the government stands down. But as well as a way to express people's frustrations and as a call to continue the protests, the graffiti is also a way to mark out public space.
And last up, thanks to our Esra and her Instagram habits, we can bring you this. Yes, this is cats and their owners, and the owners have cat filter faces which appear to be terrifying the cats that are being held. This appeared on social media and TikTok out of China and has been shared and watched hundreds of thousands of times. And cats, we assume, are watching it as much as people are. Will do from the Newsfeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. You'll find me at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and follow me on Twitter. Follow, subscribe and add. See you again tomorrow.